Hi,
I
how are
have
you?
I'm good, I have Pokemon.
It's Pokemon time.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is gonna be kind of similar to the last one. I'm just gonna make sure I got your verbal confirmation that it's cool to post this online and use it for my school project and all that.
Yeah, it's all good.
Alright, awesome. Where did I put my phone? I gotta pull up the questions. First of all, just like tell us a little bit about yourself, name, pronouns, all that kind of stuff. And a little bit your gender identity and what it was like for you to, basically just talk a little bit about your experiences and we'll go from there.
Okay. I have to remember everything you just said. Um, I okay,
Just
I
name, age, pronouns.
okay, yeah. I'm River. Um, they, it, but I don't really care what trans people call me. Um, I'm 21. Um, yeah, I don't really know what my gender would be. Transmask, non-binary, I guess. I don't know. I'm still figuring out a little bit, but I don't I don't have a set label or anything.
Hey, listen, labels are dumb and overrated.
But yeah, non-binary is probably the best description.
But since this class is about like girls and girl culture, I know you came out when you were 17. Um you said you were 17 in the last
Yeah,
interview, I
16
believe.
or 17. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly.
So before that, like, were there any unique struggles with being an autistic girl that like you didn't really, see other
Ye-
girls going through?
Yeah, I think I don't want to ramble too much, but I feel
You're
like there
welcome to
was
ramble. I'm literally interviewing to get your opinions.
fair enough, fair enough. Sorry, I just don't want to take too long.
You're allowed to
Um,
take as much time as you want. We can always finish up the later if you want to do a second part.
okay. Um, but yeah, I think a lot of it was like I'm sure other people who grew up as girls can understand the like kind of like unspoken rules of being a girl, especially with with like drama and stuff. I feel like there was always stuff that I just didn't know and no one thought to tell me. I can't think of an example, but like
I think I have an
especially
example. Can I like ask? Can I give my example and like you confirm if it's correct?
sure.
So in I went to Catholic school growing up, and we had like on Fridays, if all the girls wore bows, we got like extra points on our math quiz or something. Like that was just like the thing.
Mhm.
And I wore a bow on that Thursday, and I forgot to that Friday. And people were so pissed off at me. But I'm like, I didn't think about that when I was getting dressed. I just thought, hey, I want to wear this day and not this day. Even though we all had uniforms, you like there were certain things you couldn't do. Like girls would judge each other off of their hair and their nail polish and stuff, like little stupid
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely had this like sense of like I'm always too dirty or disheveled or like I'm not pretty enough. And part of that was also I think being fat. Um and like I remember when I had long hair, it was really hard for me to feel because it was like curly and frizzy and it was always knotted and um I remember like even when I finally found a way to wear it comfortably, I would get like made fun of, and it was like, "What? How am I supposed to wear it then?" Like, I don't get it.
It's like I can't change the way it grows out of my head. Like either do it for me or don't or like tell me how you want me to do it.
Exactly. Um, yeah, and I feel like there was a lot of like hygiene stuff. Like being in locker rooms was always weird because I always felt like I was missing something. Um, And I also, when I was younger, I didn't really care about makeup or like body hair. I would shave sometimes, but once I reached a certain age, I was like, it's not worth it. Um, So like, yeah, I feel like a lot of it was trying to figure out things that no one told me. Um, and even like I remember another thing that was very hard for me was I couldn't tell if people liked me. Um, and I could tell if people like really didn't like me or like liked me enough to be friends, but like someone who maybe was just in my class and we weren't friends, I had no idea if they liked me or not. Um,
I had a lot of people in high school who were like, "Oh yeah, I really wanted to be friends with you. Like I was like super friendly towards you." I'm like, I didn't even realize. Like I thought you were like I thought we were cool, but I didn't know you wanted to be like friends with me. You should have told me. Like we could have been
yeah,
hanging out, you know?
there were also times where like girls, even girls like a year or two older than me, or like when I was in sixth grade, like ninth grade girls would like tease me and like tease me in that way where like it doesn't sound like an insult, but you know they're like they're trying to get something out of you. They're trying to get a
My friend
reaction.
over there has a crush on you.
Yeah, or like I remember there's one girl, she was I think she was just like also one of those strange people who asks everyone invasive questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I remember being in the locker room and she just kept saying like, "Oh, I have to go poop." Like, "What about you? Do you have to go poop? What does your poop look like?" And I'm like, I was like, "What?" Like,
That's a
and
genuinely weird thing. That's
right,
yeah, that's like
right.
strange.
And like it was one of those situations where she didn't say these weird things to anyone else. It was just me. So part of me was like, does she want to be friends? I don't understand. Like is she like I didn't get it. I remember she would ask me, yeah. We would sit at we had like assigned lunch tables and she sat at mine for a week or two and it was miserable. I dreaded it at lunch every day because she would just keep asking me questions. I think that was the worst one, but she would ask me questions like that like I didn't know how to answer, and she clearly was trying to like catch me being confused or like was trying to laugh at me trying thinking that like taking something seriously that was supposed to be a joke or
Like
you
she'd say
know.
something weird and you're supposed to laugh at it, but you're like, but you're just looking at her like,
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't know how to answer that. And it's like we are not supposed to. It's a joke, but I didn't know. I wouldn't
I
have
didn't know,
known.
I wouldn't have known it was a joke if you didn't tell me it was a joke, you know?
Yeah, and like no one else at the table would stand up for me. Like they weren't even necessarily laughing. They were just sitting there.
That's so sad.
So
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
yeah, it was tough.
It's
Um,
weird because like I don't remember actively being bullied, but then my parents are like, "Yeah, no, you used to get bullied a lot in like middle school." I'm like, "I did."
yeah, it's funny because like whenever people like when I would say like have like moments of like self-doubt or insecurity or like talking bad about myself, like sorry, my friends would always be like, well, who told you this? Like, who told you these bad things about yourself? And I'd be like, well, no one told them to me directly, but I know that's what they're thinking, and like,
Yeah,
I know something has to be wrong for them to not like want to be friends.
there's a lot of studies that like say that like people just don't know how to interact with autistic people. They just think they're like there's something kind of off, even though it's like we're the same. Like we are
Mm,
still people. We still have like thoughts and feelings and emotions. Like we just express it differently. But like
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like people always take me up the wrong way. You know?
I feel like it was either people would belittle me and like use that to tease me, or people would belittle me and try and be my friend, but like treat me like younger.
They like treat you like a
I
pet, not really like a person.
Yeah, or like they're you can kind of tell it's like a pity friendship. Oh, I also like I went to like a private school. I was at public school until fourth grade. So like I had been at a private school I'd been in a public school for a couple years and then went to private school, and the difference in like the culture was so like I had like culture shock basically for lack of better term. Um and like in like public school it was fine to have like childish interests like Littlest Pet Shop and Webkins and like Pokemon, like those are my favorite things as a
They're
kid.
little guys.
Yeah. And like Warrior Cats, and I was a huge book nerd as a kid. I loved like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, Diversion. Um, so like but then when I went to private school, it was like, oh well, those interests are weird. Or like and it wasn't even necessarily like those are boy interests. It was just like no one cared. Like
But
Pokemon specifically, I usually I did eventually make a friend through Pokemon, but usually it was boys who would talk to me about it.
yeah, I have very vivid memories of sitting at a lunch table in seventh grade, and another girl told me, "You can't when you go to your new school next year. You can't tell anyone you play Minecraft because no one will want to be friends with you."
That's so sad.
This was in like 2014, so Minecraft was like lame.
Oh, I forgot Minecraft wasn't cool until recently.
Like I've heard, like it's always been cool. People just sucked in 2014, but like I was
Yeah.
just sitting there like, bro, why are you so mad? It's just a video
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, the other hard part was like um I don't know if other people have this experience, but like my private school was very athletic. Like we all had required sports in the afternoons. Yeah. Um, so even the girls were like supposed to be athletic and sporty, and I wasn't, and it was very hard, especially because like I'm not a runner. Like I cannot do endurance of any
Yeah.
kind. So like when I was younger, I would play like soccer and lacrosse because I was tiny and had infinite energy. But now, but like when I was in like middle school, that's why I liked volleyball because it was more of a sprint sport than a
Mhm.
endurance sport. I did get lucky having parents who um tried their best to raise all of us kind of gender neutrally, like not like me and my sister would have dolls, but my brother was allowed to play with them with us, and like I was allowed to play with like dinosaurs, like and cars, and me and my brother both would play with Legos. So I was lucky at home to have a little bit more of a um like neutral in terms of gender upbringing.
Like there was less pressure to do like girl things. You could just be like a person.
Yeah. I think the only thing would be like when we had fancy outings, it was usually like, "Oh, we have to go get a dress." Um, but it wasn't even necessarily like you have to wear a dress because you're a girl. It was like, "Oh, well, you want something fancy? Like dress is easy."
Exactly, because
Um,
you could just get one thing and then that's like the whole outfit.
yeah, and I didn't like I never was like, "Oh, I don't like dresses" because I didn't not like them.
They're fun. They're just like, especially like I feel like a lot of autistic girls like to stim with dresses. Like I had one that I wore all the time when I was like 8, and I loved like the way it felt because it was cotton, and it also
Mm.
was like it was like right above my knees, so it was the right amount to like when I went like this, it would go around in the circle. You
One of
know?
my favorite outfits when I was younger, it was almost like a sweater, like a cardigan, a long cardigan.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a sweater dress, and it had like these big pockets, and I liked to just like
Hmm.
it was really soft and cozy.
That is really soft and cozy.
I also wore a lot of scarves in the winter.
Scarves are nice.
Mhm. Yeah. What other questions you got? I don't want to stay stuck
Is
on
it?
the first.
It's okay. I was like letting you finish. What was it like for you to learn that you were autistic, and how did you come to realize it?
Oh boy, it was only recently, really. I remember I specifically said it out loud last time I was in Chicago with my friends, which would have been around New
New Year's
Year's
last year.
last year, so 2021. Um, and I had talked to my friends who like a couple of my friends had recently realized they were autistic. I had just made a friend, like my friend Kaden in college, who was just straight up like, I have autism. And I was like, oh, cool. Um, and like I was neurodivergent. I thought I had just like ADHD or something like that. I knew there was something up. And um I think I knew for a long time that something was different about my brain, but I didn't have the word for it because I just knew I was weird and odd, and I thought I was just like a nerd. And
Yeah.
like I wasn't like I didn't fit into private school because my family's not like super rich or
Yeah.
proper.
Sometimes it's more of like a class difference thing than like an autism
Mhm.
difference.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, and I knew I had my own mental health problems and like attachment issues and stuff, but I just didn't know. I didn't have the words for it. Um, the anxiety especially. Um, and I started talking to like my friend Kaden and my other friends, and they kept making jokes about like, oh, maybe you're autistic, or like one time like Kaden like inferred that I was autistic, and like he and his friend laughed about it, and I was like, wait, is this for real? Like, is this a joke?
Is this a slash SRS or slash J? I need to know.
Is this a joke? Um, I think I literally tweeted like like a week before or something. I'm like, I'm just Schrodinger's autistic. Like, I'm only autistic when my friends say I am. Um, but yeah, and then eventually like I was talking to him more about it, and we were talking about sensory issues, and um like for me I've had certain problems in the past that I didn't know what to connect them to, and it just
They're
kind
just
of
all like
all
there's these problems, and then I'm like, oh, there's these weird things wrong with me. It's like, oh, there's one big thing wrong with me. It's not a bunch of
yeah.
little things.
Yeah, because like I said, it was a lot of like social struggles, having these like specific interests that are very intense for a long time. Um like like some like body like being conscious or aware of my own body and eating and um yeah, a lot of stuff like that, some black and white thinking, emotional irregularity, like a lot of stuff. And I said that's a kid and we were walking and I was like, yeah, I think I have autism, and he was like, yes.
That's really cute.
Yeah, he was very excited. He was like, River finally said it. I was like, yeah, I'm admitting
I'm
it.
so happy for you.
And yeah, ever since then, I've learned more about like what it actually means, and it genuinely has helped me a lot to accept that I probably have autism, and even if I don't, like I relate to a lot of the experiences. Sorry, my mom's yelling for me.
All right. Do you wanna cut this off here and then we can do a part two later on?
Yeah, I'll finish my thought first.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, even if in the end I don't have autism, hold on. Never mind, I won't finish. I have to go.
All right, love you. Bye.
Love you, babe.